Peter Griffin, the lovable dad who's burned his house, crashed his car, and tried selling Meg online for less than a PS5.
You can't sell me, you fat son of a bitch!
Whoa, careful,
Family Guy's men aren't quirky. They're criminal. From creeps to full-on felons. Here are the most hated male characters ranked. And yes, it gets darker fast. Peter Griffin is chaos in human form. He's the kind of guy who'd burn down his house just to roast marshmallows on the ashes. He's fought everyone, from the Ernie the Giant Chicken to God himself, and somehow still thinks he's the hero. Every episode, Peter commits at least 1 felony, 2 moral crimes, and 3 acts of child endangerment, all before breakfast. This is the man who blew up his boss's factory, joined the Pawtucket Patriot Brewery, then got fired for drinking the product. He's cheated death more times than Wile E. Coyote and learned less from it. Peter's parenting advice usually starts with "hold my beer" and ends with a trip to the hospital. He once made Meg fight a bear for YouTube views, and lost interest halfway through. But what really makes him hated is his complete lack of self-awareness. He'll destroy the town, cause mass panic, then somehow get praised for it by the end credits. Peter doesn't grow. He resets like a broken video game character. If Quahog were real, the insurance companies would have his face on a dartboard. And yet, somehow, he's still not the most dangerous man in the show. That honor goes to the guy who turned Giggity into a police report, Glenn Quagmire, the neighborhood's resident predator disguised as a punchline. At first, he was just the funny bachelor. Now he's basically a living restraining order with a pilot's license. Quagmire's entire existence is a crime scene. He's been caught spying on his neighbors, stealing mail, and hitting on Peter's wife more times than we can count. His house has more hidden cameras than the Pentagon, and his laptop history would make the NSA shut down their servers. He's been banned from every dating app, every country club, and possibly several countries. But Family Guy keeps pretending he's just a ladies' man. No, Quagmire is a full-time creep with benefits. He once hit on Meg right after her 18th birthday, saying, "Now it's legal." Congratulations, Glenn. That's not romantic, that's incriminating. He's also the kind of guy who apologizes by saying, "But your mom's hot." Even when the show tries to humanize him, it somehow makes him worse. Remember when we met his mom, Crystal Quagmire? Yeah, that's when we learned his issues were hereditary. The man literally said, "You made me what I am," and she didn't deny it.
You're the one who made me what I am!
Quagmire's like a biohazard symbol with a pulse. A cautionary tale wrapped in polyester. And if he were real, he'd be the reason Dateline runs 2-hour specials. If Peter's dangerous because he's stupid, Quagmire's terrifying because he knows exactly what he's doing. And what's scarier? The dog's not any better. Ah yes, Brian, the intellectual, the writer, the voice of reason. Except underneath that smooth jazz voice is a smug, hypocritical narcissist who thinks quoting Nietzsche excuses everything. Brian isn't smart. He's just the loudest guy in the room who thinks everyone else is wrong. He lectures the family about morality while cheating on girlfriends, drinking himself into comas, and hitting on Lois like it's a personality trait. This is the same dog who dated a teenager and defended it because she's mature for her age. Bro, you literally fetched tennis balls. Sit down. Brian thinks he's the family's conscience, but he's really just their walking contradiction. He says he's an atheist until he almost dies. He talks about feminism right before ghosting women. He brags about writing novels that never leave his laptop. Even his death didn't stop the cringe. The entire world mourned him, and then the show brought him back like nothing happened, just so he could keep ruining people's lives with pseudo-intellectual nonsense. He's the embodiment of every failed writer who blames society instead of opening Google Docs. If hypocrisy were an Olympic sport, Brian would have more gold than Michael Phelps. He's not deep, he's damp, from all the whiskey and regret. And yet, compared to the literal baby terrorist in the next section, Brian almost feels tame. Almost. Stewie Griffin is what happens when pure genius meets total psychosis. A 1-year-old with the IQ of Einstein and the moral compass of a Bond villain. He's tried to kill his mom, clone himself, time travel, and once accidentally destroyed an entire timeline, and then complained about it. Stewie isn't evil because he's angry. He's evil because he's bored. He builds death rays for fun, kidnaps his family for experiments, and somehow still finds time for show tune numbers that slap harder than they should.
Mr. Lover Lover. Mr. Lover Lover. She called me Mr. Bombastic. Tell me fantastic. Touch me on my back, she says I'm Mr. Rowe.
He's adorable, British, and borderline satanic. But what's fascinating is how self-aware he is. He'll drop a philosophy quote mid-murder attempt and make you feel guilty for laughing. He calls Lois the woman who gave me life, and then threatens to take it back every other episode. The show constantly shifts between treating him like a baby and a supervillain, and he's both. Still, Stewie's crimes are so elaborate they almost feel artistic. He's less evil toddler and more baby Hannibal Lecter. And yet, deep down, he's just lonely. Which somehow makes his destruction even funnier. He's the only Griffin capable of real introspection, but his coping mechanism is world domination. If this were real life, Stewie wouldn't be in preschool. He'd be in a government lab. And it'd probably be safer that way. Joe Swanson started as the heart of the group, the brave cop, the loyal friend. Now he's a full-time rage machine with a badge. He went from serve and protect to snap and suplex. Joe's temper is legendary. He'll tackle a jaywalker like it's a murder suspect, break his own wheelchair mid-fight, and then yell about justice while holding a taser. This man has broken more laws than he's enforced. Every episode he shows up, at least one bystander is going to the ER. But what's sad is how far he's fallen. He used to be inspiring. Proof that courage isn't physical. Now he's basically a cautionary tale about unresolved trauma. His wife left, his friends don't take him seriously, and he channels all that pain into overkill. Literally. Even Peter, like a human wrecking ball, looks calm next to him. Joe once tackled Santa Claus. Santa Claus. He's like a motivational poster that got addicted to steroids. He's still technically a good guy, but his methods scream villain origin story. If Quahog had internal affairs, Joe would have been fired 10 seasons ago. And yet, the town just keeps pretending he's fine, because nothing says Family Guy logic like calling an angry cop quirky. Chris Griffin. The man-child whose brain runs entirely on confusion and leftover cereal. He's not evil, just weird in ways science can't explain. Chris has dated his teachers, befriended his hallucinations, and once hid a human head in his closet like it was a collectible. He's sweet, but he's also one psychological evaluation away from a full documentary. He talks to an evil monkey, eats glue for breakfast, and somehow still gets better grades than Meg. Every time Chris is on screen, you don't know whether to laugh, cry, or call CPS, but deep down, he's tragic. He just wants approval from anyone. Peter ignores him, Lois underestimates him, and Brian uses him for moral lessons. The poor kid never had a chance. He's awkward, oblivious, and dangerously impressionable. When Quagmire gives you advice on women, and you take it, that's when we know you're doomed. Still, for all his weirdness, Chris is the most innocent man on this list. He's the eye of the hurricane, clueless, confused, and somehow surviving the Griffin household like it's a war zone. If there's one man you can root for, it's him. Mostly because rooting for anyone else would get you arrested. So what did we learn today? That Family Guy's men aren't flawed. They're full-on broken. Peter's reckless, Quagmire's revolting, Brian's hypocritical, Stewie's psychotic, Joe's unhinged, and Chris, well, he's just weird enough to make it out alive. If Quahog were real, the town would have more mugshots than citizens. These aren't main characters, they're red flags with catchphrases. But hey, if you think this list was dark, check out Most Hated Female Characters in Family Guy next. Because when it comes to this show, equality means everyone's terrible.